Hello and welcome to another live stream with me, Harry P. Hopefully my microphone's coming through okay. Hopefully you can hear me. I have the air conditioning on behind me, so you're probably hearing a lot of which is great because it means I don't have to be the one making those noises. But yeah, sorry if you hear all the air conditioning. Anyway, hello, how are you? Hope you're doing well. I am working on Trilby Dogtooth once again. So very nearly finished. Oh, it's close. And I know I've said that a million times, but I've said it in the past before it was fully timed out, before I knew exactly how many backgrounds I had left to do and how many shots. The cartoon's timed out, all the music is done, all the voice acting is done. It's the soundtrack is currently done. I mean, we have all the sound effects, but we're still working on the mix. We're still tweaking things. It's come out to, I think, 6 minutes and 12 seconds, like 6 minutes and 13 seconds, something like that. But every shot is there, and I know I have to do 2 backgrounds, and I have to finish 4 shots, of which this one that I'm working on today is one of them, and it is the longest of the 4 by a big margin. In fact, this is the longest shot I have ever done in my life, I think. I haven't checked, but I think I'm right. It's over 34 seconds, which is really long for me, and has a lot of animation in it. I mean, so far we're at what, frame 110, 111 here, and so these are all drawings. These are all drawings that I have done. Blah 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 blah. I mean, there's a couple of bits of reuse in there, but there are 2 characters in this shot. So when you take that into account, there's going to be way more than, I don't know, maybe 400 drawings in the shot. And it's just, you know, it's conversation. It's not necessarily a big action sequence, but it's a crazy amount of work. For real, it is a crazy amount of work. Hey Figment, thank you for coming by. Figment says everything sounds good. Yeah, I was worried my microphone was maybe not gonna pick up me next to the sound of the air conditioner, but yeah. So man, this thing is coming soon. That's my point. That's what I was getting to. This thing is coming out one day soon, this month. Because once I'm done with this shot, I have 3 very easy shots left. So I got this one big pain in the butt, and then easy street from then on out. Hey, Mr. Matimation, thank you for coming by. Thank you to everyone for coming by. I'm just seeing the mods because their names appear in blue. Hey, Tiana. Hey, Fun Cubes. Hey, Terranium. Hey, Owen. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? What a wild name. All right, guys. Well, look, I'm not going to be Mr. Social today. Really? It's going to be kind of a boring live stream. I know I'm going to be boring to watch today. I just have a lot of work to do. So if you're working, or if you need some background noise, maybe I can provide that level of entertainment. But it's not going to be a thrill because I just have, you know, many drawings to do. And I'll try and keep it under 2 hours because it's no reason it needs to be longer than that, really. But I certainly won't be done in 2 hours. I've got a lot more work than that. So let's stick an in-between in here. He's just making a point. He takes that position, and now he's going to go down and then up. And he's going to tap his head like a couple of times, like he's making a point. He's like, I know something you don't know. It's that kind of thing. So, okay, let's start. We're going to probably put 2 or 3 drawings to smooth this movement out. Let's try and get them done. I hope everyone's having a good Monday. I don't particularly hate Mondays because every day feels the same for me working from home. Hey, Mr. Matimation, what are you doing? Sending me $19, you crazy man. You don't need to do that. Yikes, thank you very much. Mr. Matimation sent a $20 super chat saying he is funding 1 frame. You know, I really appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. You don't need to do that. You're already supporting me on Patreon. You don't need to do the double support thing. But here's the crazy thing. I was actually thinking today about what I should pay for 1 frame of animation to assistants, because I've worked with animators before where I've hired them, but it's usually like, help me get through this 1 cartoon, here's the pay. and we kind of just agree in advance what they're getting. And then at the end, sometimes I haven't paid enough, sometimes I've overpaid, because we just agree what it is in advance and not exactly how much work is going to be done for it. I'm kind of fast and loose, and I'm not a great businessman. But I was thinking today, what should I really be paying per frame? Because I think that's the way I should do it. I think that's the way you should do it. You should just agree that you pay animators per frame, and then they're going to know, you know, they're going to know after doing a couple of frames if the job is worth it to them, if they want to stick around. And you're going to know pretty quickly if, well, you can't be ripped off, and really nobody can be ripped off, because if you agree in advance, if they do 10 frames and then leave the project, or if they do 100 frames and then leave the project, you know exactly how much you're going to pay, and they know how much they can bank on getting. So I was thinking, how much is one frame really worth? And I think it depends. If it's a character like this, it's quite complicated, you want to pay a bit more. If it's a character that you're seeing their whole body, that's a lot more drawing than maybe a close-up where you're just seeing an eye or something. So you want to pay different amounts. But that's a good enough rough. So let's take that rough. And let's abandon him. No, let's just banish him. That's what I meant to say. Banish him to the layer below. And go in now and do the cleanup on this bad boy. No mouths right now, guys. I'm going to do all the lip sync and the mouth flaps later on. So there you go. Ooh. Yeah, I wouldn't... Tiana says $1 per frame. I mean, look, man. I certainly wouldn't be able to pay $19.99 for a frame. That's a very generous frame cost. I was thinking more in the single digits, personally. But Mr. Matamation is an experienced animator. He may know, he may have a different idea about that. And if he thinks that $20 is what I should be paying other animators, then I may not. You may be in for a surprise there. I may advise that you never do any work for me, because I don't know if I'll be able to compete with that. Alright, so let's get the hat kind of bending a bit. Sort of bending upwards there. This is not the best drawing in the world, I'll be honest with you guys, but, you know, I got about 400 of these things to do, so the quality is suffering slightly. I cannot wait to work on something a little bit more manageable and fun. I have these two characters I've designed that are actually designed to be easy to animate. They are, you know, they're not just white lumps of goo, but they basically are. They're very goo based, and I can't wait to do something with them. Of course, Starbarians episode 4, I gotta finish that too. I want to do that by the end of this year. I'd like to do that by my birthday, because I turn old in a month and a week and a bit. I become very old suddenly, having a birthday, so I want to make sure that I get something good out before then. I'm gonna get Dogtooth out in January. Yikes, July. I'm gonna get Dogtooth out in July. I know that now, because I'm so close to the finish line. But I'd like to put something else out in August, so we'll see about that. Okay, so you see what people are saying. Mr. Matamation was thinking of full colored frames. That's something. Yeah, you want to pay. You'd pay more if it was a colored and shaded frame versus a black and white frame, for sure. That makes sense to me. Okay. And Figment says probably about $2 per frame, judging by someone more successful in animation. You know, well, that I could pay. That I could pay, but you know what stops me from just going out there and saying this is what I want to offer, and before I've really done my research as to what I can afford. Does anyone remember recently Shaquille O'Neal said he was going to pay for an animation for a TV show he was doing? I mean, it wasn't him paying, I'm sure, but he was promoting the show, and they wanted animators to animate like a podcast type thing with Shaquille O'Neal, and they were offering $500, not as pay actually, but as a prize. So you had to enter it, you had to animate the thing without ever knowing if you would get to, you know, see anything for it. You'd animate it, you'd send it into the show, and then the prize was $500 if they decided to use it. And people were rightfully kind of pissed about that because I'm just like paying no attention to the wraps on his arm here. They're different in every frame, whatever. People were pissed about that because, you know, that you don't pay someone $500 to animate an entire short. That's not great. That's not a great payday at all. And especially if they're running the risk of entering the competition and possibly animating something for nothing. But I run the risk of, as an independent, if I go out there and I'm like, hey guys, I'm hiring animators, I'm offering $2 per frame, I don't want to end up catching the ire of social media for, you know, being for looking like I'm trying to short a bunch of people on money for labor, because animation's a lot of work, no doubt about that. All right, this arm needs to be shunted over. It's the nice thing about working digitally, we can correct things as we go. Move that arm over there. Yep. I mean, I'm gonna get this frame done in, I guess like 10 minutes uncolored is probably the time this will have taken me. But I am working with a Cintiq. $2 in 10 minutes is not great pay, but I mean it's like minimum wage, I guess. So that's not great pay. I think it would need to be more than $2. Yeah, people remember the Shaq Tunes thing. Alright, let's get this frame finished and on to the next one. How about that? Alright, I'll get this hammered out and then I'll come and read another question. I think that's the way I gotta do it. Gotta have little pockets of focus where I get frames filled in and then I come back to the chat. Yada yada. Rinse and repeat. So what is going on with his pocket here? Something like that. It's a floppy pocket. It's a flocket. Okay. Put the strap in there. He's a strapping lad. Like that. Alright, I'll come back and tackle a question when I'm done with just filling out. I'll tell you what, I'll just do the legs and then I'll take a question, okay? Let me just fill these goofy legs in. I feel that should be up a bit. So, like that. Just there you go, that's the legs. It's my great legs. Let me see. EDM, how do I say your name? Ed Mead Art, I guess. I wanted to say EDM because of the capital letters. Ed Mead Art says, I think a lot of people outside of animation don't really understand how paying animators works. I don't understand how paying animators works. Yeah. And I do animation for a living, apparently. Mr. Mathemation says, assuming you're doing 6 frames an hour, it's actually quite a bit more than minimum wage and a lot. The United States is $7.25 minimum wage. So if you did 6 frames an hour and they were $2 each, you'd get $12 an hour. Yeah, I guess that is more than minimum wage. Alright. Alright. Well, it's not so tragic then. It sounds like filthy, right? Going out there and saying, I'm hiring animators, I'm paying them $2 a frame. You sound like Stromboli from Pinocchio or something. Just, I guess when you consider, you know, the time it should take someone to draw a frame, it doesn't work out to minimum wage, like Matt just pointed out, but it sounds kind of dirty when you look at it at face value. It just sounds like such a pathetic pay scale. $2 for a whole drawing, you know? Let's draw the straps on the arm there. Kind of forgot them in that frame. Alright, so I'm going to clean this guy up because there's lots of little crappy areas I want to fix. And then I'll come back to the chat and we can talk about anything you guys want to talk about. I kind of like the conversation we're having about animation pay scales because it's informing me about what I should expect to pay or what I should be paying for animation. Because in the past I've said to people, you know, just here's a lump of money, here's what I'd like you to do generally, and it's not always worked out great for them or for me. Sometimes it's just hard to predict unless you're very specific about things. And I think saying you're going to pay $2 a frame, they can see exactly what every shot they're going to get is going to pay them. If it has 10 frames, they're going to get $20. If it has 100 frames, they're going to get $200, etc. But 200 frames sounds like a lot. Although this shot so far, I'm up to what are we at? 110 around. Yikes! And look, we've got all these guys to go, and these are just keyframes. These are keyframes, so I got way more frames to draw than are represented here. Yeah, they're just keys. Oh boy, oh. So he goes and he's like, what does he say? Something about silver bullet. It's like a stake to the heart or a silver bullet. But I know your weakness. This face is a bit squanchy. Not digging the squanch face. It's the nose, man. It's his nose. Hit the nose. It's a bit better. Alright, let me see what the chat's saying. What are the chat up to? Wow, okay, there's some new people. Hi, Peterson. Hey, Brian. Hey, Davy88. Peterson says, people animating full body shots be living in boxes. Okay. Mr. Drawing Constantly. Hey, Mr. Drawing Constantly says, when animating, I noticed the motion tweeting, I guess you mean, has its purposes. Yeah, it sure does, usually for subtle purposes like syncing the movement. Yeah, I agree. Brain Kalza says, Harry, how many scenes are left to do? Shots? I have 4 shots including this one and 3 more. And they're 3 easy ones. Easy ones. This is the hard one. It's taken me forever. Look how little his head is there and how big it gets here. I stink. Alright. Silver bullet stick to the heart. But I know. What I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to use a cheap, dirty tactic. Going to use a really low-down, dirty tactic. What I'm going to do is find a frame that's kind of similar. Haha, this one will do. And we're going to take it and we're going to steal it. Because between here and here, I think we can reuse that and sort of mess with it a bit. I know it doesn't look great yet. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Harry, it's not working. But what we want to do is we're going to take the head. I'll have to redraw a bunch of stuff, but ooh. Yeah, tell you what, we don't want the head. The head's no good. The head is usually where people are looking. People tend to look at characters' eyes. So I find that putting more effort into the eyes tends to be a pretty good idea. We're going to move that body, slide it back, kind of. It's starting to work. Now this area here is no good, and this jacket is no good. But what if I take this arm here and where is he? We're starting from there. Something maybe like I just thought that maybe you could reuse that arm. It's okay. It's a bit shonky, but I'll probably redraw that finger. But I think other than that, I think we can actually reuse this shot. So about 70% maybe of that drawing is acceptable. And I really like using the envelope tool in Toon Boom just to grab parts and sort of rub them and smush them around. Get a lot more use out of things that way, so. Move the arm just a little bit, tuck it in a little bit. Nice, dude, nice. Okay, well. Do I have a better head? Let's see if we can take this head and place that in. So basically, Frankenstein your old drawings. That's my advice. Just cut them apart and you can usually get away with it. Ooh. Still, the hat is okay. Maybe we'll just keep the hat. And the rest of the face, I can redraw. Make the hat a bit bigger because of how big his head gets. Alright, let me see what people are saying in the chat. Hey, Tamagotchi, thank you for coming by. Hi, Tony Studios. Hey, 80. Hey, Dark Gus. Boy, there's a whole bunch of people here. Wow, thank you, everyone, for coming by and populating the chat. Sorry I can't read all your messages, but I'm trying to get some work done today. I've got a lot to do. Hey, Tamagotchi, man, you don't need to donate to me. You're supporting me on Patreon. That's more than enough support. All right, let's see now. Let's get this. I'm gonna have to try to sort of draw based on the red frame, which is the last frame. Can I do this? Can I draw a head without roughing it out first? We're about to find out. I think it's gonna look kind of bad. I really would have benefited from roughing this out first. There we go. Really would have benefited from roughing it out. People get annoyed sometimes, I know, when I just go back and forth constantly, but it's if I was working traditionally with paper, they'd call it flipping, or I'm just flipping back and forth between frames. It's really a necessary part of the job to constantly make sure that your proportions are staying loosely on track. At least I'm not doing a great job here, but I'm sort of loosely staying on track. Hopefully enough that I can get away with it. Gonna have to redraw the bit of collar there. And tidy. Let's tidy up some of this crap, and I'll answer a question or address a point. I should be animated, but I'm being distracted watching this good stuff. Figment, what good stuff are you watching? Share it with us. Because it ain't this. It ain't me wrestling with trying to lazily get out of drawing a new head. Oh, thank you, Tamagotchi. I understand what you mean. Thank you, buddy. Hey, Beck. Beck says, I like having this kind of stuff on while I do art myself. Yeah, I'm the same way. I like listening to podcasts and having live streams and things on. I find I tend to get a little bit less work done. I guess the thing is that when I have a distraction like a podcast or a live stream on, I think I get less work done than when I'm purely focused, but I can go at it for longer, you know? So what's better? An hour of really hyper-focused work or 5 hours? I'm kidding, I don't think I ever work 5 hours without a break. 3 hours without needing to or wanting to get up and go for a walk or go and get a snack or something because I'm bored. It's probably better to work, you know, at only 85% efficiency for 3 hours than to work at 100% efficiency for 1 hour. So that's what I tell myself anyway. That's why I justify having background noise, because I do think about it a lot. I think about, should I be having background noise on? But you know, I always have to come back to it. I always decide that I want it on or want something on. Is that gonna work? He's coming. Yeah, that works. Okay, that's good. That's fine. Something like that. I see a problem with the leg here. I have to redraw that leg. And then when he goes down, I don't want him to pop right back up, so I'm going to add another couple of drawings in before he reaches his final position, just to slow down the down part. I don't want to forget to draw the hair in. And before I do that leg, I'll see if anyone's saying anything. Hey, Tarsetti. Tarsetti says, does music impede your workflow? Unlike a podcast, no need to focus on the audio. What music does, because I tend to listen to kind of energetic music. I don't tend to like sleepy or ambient music. I tend to like actual songs or film scores, and I tend to want to move if I really like the music I'm listening to. I want to get up and dance, or, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I dance in my office. I wanna do that. So I find that's the distraction, is it I enjoy it too much. But I mean, you know, podcasts can serve other distractions. Sometimes it can spurn me to want to look something up, or it makes me want to go and, you know, hunt for another video that's related to what they're talking about, or whatever. So they all have their ups and downs, I think. Okay, so that's that frame. So we'll watch this back in a little bit, guys. Oh yeah, gotta draw the finger. Looks like the hat's sliding off his head a bit. I don't like that. Can we do something about the hat here? Just, yeah, I think it's a bit better. Felt like the hat was sort of shifting on his head, probably because I cannibalized it from another frame. And then this one can be pushed back just a touch. Whatever, it's fine. Something like that for the finger. Oh no, I don't like that flip. I guess I have to just draw it straight in the middle there. Yeah, none of these fingers look good. All right, we'll take that finger. It's a fine finger. Okay, so he comes. This is his hold position, and it's 2 frames down. Maybe he can just go right back up. Maybe screw it. Let's just animate him going right back up into position here, and I'll save. Don't worry, everyone. You can breathe out. I'm going to save, and I'll look up what people are talking about in the chat. I get more stuff done when I work at 80% for 3 hours, as you put it. Yeah, I agree with you, Beck. Tiana says, it honestly relaxes me and helps me kind of zone out. It's distracting, but in my opinion, it's more efficient. Yep. Hey, Noah. Noah says, working with noise definitely helps occupy the social side of my brain. Yeah, I know what you mean. You kind of get FOMO if you just sat there in silence, not doing anything. Lyricless music is what Figment listens to. And Davi88 says there's a jump in how long the lines on the flap of the holster. Oh, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Yeah, I mean, I see there's the little flap there. I guess that's what you're talking about. Is that good enough for you, Davi88, you insatiable monster? Coming in and criticizing my very hastily done, poorly thought out animation. Let's have a slug of water. Zachary Brown says he works at 5% for 24 hours. Hey man, this is better than some people, so don't feel too bad. Alright, so he's gonna have the hat kind of gonna be doing that. Gonna be having a little bit of a drag, I guess. The nose is going to drag down a little bit too. And the hair. Okay, and what's the jacket going to be doing at this point? Oh, this is where it gets complicated. This is why I should rough out every frame before cleanup, but it's just too much freaking work. I'm not a Disney animator. I don't want to do it that way. I like just figuring it out as I go. Aha. Forgot the little truncheon there on the side. Actually, he does have a name for the weapon. The weapon is called the Whack-a-Pult. And I said that was, you know, I named it and I told Joyce the name. She said, no American's gonna understand that, because in America, catapult doesn't mean a slingshot. Over here, we call a slingshot a catapult, and it's more like a slingshot than a catapult. It's not a Roman catapult. But I thought, hey, it's not, you know, it's not an American cartoon. It's kind of an English cartoon, so if the Americans don't know what I mean when I say catapult instead of slingshot, then it's just an extra quirky little idiosyncratic thing about the cartoon that they can ponder about. Okay, so something like that. Hang on. No, I don't like that. Hang on. I want the hand to kind of come in like he's like stabbing it into his head. May even start the hand kind of curling in a little bit sooner than that. I was gonna have the hand all kind of floppy, like dragging around, you know, like that. But no, I think it needs to be kind of stabbing into his head. Yoink! So maybe this hand, maybe what we want to do here. It's a shame, I liked the way I'd drawn that hand, but maybe by this point we want to have the fingers more closed and ready for action. Actually have his hand already in position. So he's coming in to stab into his temple. I think that'll look better in motion. I don't know. Yoink! So now he's bringing his other hand out from behind his back, so it's gonna have to be like that, I guess, coming out. Trying to figure out my own motion I intended. I've drawn the keyframes and I've not really thought about how exactly we're gonna play it all off. Look, man, it doesn't have to be the best animation ever. It just has to get over the point that he's stabbing his head with his own finger. That's good enough. Okay, I think that that'll kind of work. Yeep. I know your weakness. Okay. All right, that's good enough for a rough. It's good enough for a rough. Let's ruin it by cleaning it up, having it lose all of its energy and vitality. Make it nice and transparent for Grandma Harry so I don't strain my eyes. And I'll see what you cool kids are saying in the chat while I pick my color. I think I'm going to draw it in black today. Let me see. Does Mr. Matamation have a question that I didn't get to? I see somebody mentioning... Oh, Mr. Matamation asked, was there a character, and have I ever animated British characters? I mean, yes. I did stuff for the BBC, like I did the Rock Band cartoon, and I did the Mitchell and Webb cartoon. I mean, I voiced the Rock Band cartoon, I didn't voice the Mitchell and Webb one. Yeah, I mean, I've not made many, but I've made some. Not for a long time, though. Because I haven't made very many animations for a long time. Although, I keep telling myself lately how... You know, I put out a 7-minute cartoon in 2019. Starbarians episode 3 was 7 minutes. This cartoon is 6 minutes. Had I put out 7 one-minute cartoons last year and 6 one-minute cartoons this year, people would have thought I was super productive. I've done that amount of animation, it's just that I haven't, you know, they're condensed into longer cartoons. I used to make cartoons that were a minute long or 2 minutes long, and now I seem to be favoring longer, over 5-6 minutes. So, you know, they take 3 or 4 times longer to make, but that's my bed that I've made for myself, and I can weasel out of it. That's what separates us from the weasel. Hang on, what's that Simpsons line? That's what separates us from the animals. Except a weasel. Brilliant Homer impression. I actually hadn't watched much Simpsons for a while, and I watched an episode yesterday on Disney Plus. And I know this is old and everyone's already talked about this, and I'm really late to the game here, but it really peed me off how they had the 4:3 was missing, and it was 16:9 HD with the top and bottom cut off and the picture all stretched. I don't like that at all. I really wish they gave you the option to turn that off and just watch even a standard definition, you know, sub DVD standard 4:3 original version, so you could see the whole screen. It sucks that they want to give you an HD, you know, viewing experience, and they're giving you less visual information as a result. You're actually getting thicker, clumsier looking animation because of how zoomed in it is. Bothers me greatly. I'm not familiar with the story you're telling, Tassetti. O'Neill contracted a studio and they delivered trash animation. I'm not really sure what cartoon you're talking about there. Hey Delaxia, thank you for coming by. Alright, let me just... okay. His face is rapidly changing shape. Come on, Partridge, pull it out. Oh boy, okay. Oh, Leo and Satan? Oh yeah, I don't know anything about that story, unfortunately. I never really spoke to Chris about what happened there, and that would have been a long time ago, I guess, by now. Although any studio that promises Disney animation in today's times I would be pretty skeptical of, because it just doesn't exist, not on TV anyway. He's got a pocket on this side of his jacket, same as here, but I'm kind of ignoring it. It's not really needed for the pose. It kind of breaks up the silhouette a bit anyway. And let's get that other jacket flap in, like that. Okay, let's clean that up a little bit. And I'll see what you are talking about in the chat. No cam today, Davy88. I am in full goblin mode. Just goblin mode, man. The lockdown has not been kind to old Harry. I need to seriously get my act together. They've just reopened barbershops this week in Britain. I'm probably gonna maybe give it a little longer before I go to one. It's not so much because I'm worried about the virus. It ain't that, really. It's more that I don't want to be waiting for 2 hours with a whole bunch of other people and wasting my time. So I'm probably gonna let my hair get even shaggier. Zoink, Scoob! Oh, fuck, that was a horrible impression. Gonna let my hair get even more Daphne-er. I look like Daphne right now, like fat and round with a big bowl haircut. Gonna let my hair get longer and probably cut it after that. And then you'll see me on cam again when I am presentable, when I'm pleasing to thine eye. Let me see what Mr. Manimation says. The only thing that's missing is the Michael Jackson episode. Oh, you're talking about the Simpsons, yeah. Disney Plus version of the Simpsons is pretty much uncensored. That's good, that's good. But I don't like them, you know, they censor the top and bottom of the screen because they crop it, the gits. Davy88 says that was a good Shaggy. I guess that was a good Shaggy if you're not really if you're not, you know, intent on being able to do a good Shaggy. It was a sort of surfaceable Shaggy. If you'd only heard Shaggy once in the last 30 years. Like, I can't fucking do Shaggy. There's no point trying to bring it back now. I don't know what his sleeve is doing in this moment. This sleeve is it's not being my buddy here. Something like that, maybe? I guess like that. That's good enough. Just drawing the hand like a lump. I guess that'll sort of work for the hand. It never really, it sort of passed through the body a little bit. It's like Elsa's hair. It's just passed through him, but alright, let's play cleanup. Let's get this thing looking a little bit less shaky. I hope it's not disappointing to see me working on these drawings, and you know they're on the screen for so long a time. You can get to see all the errors, all the crappy anatomy and stuff. But that's the reality when you got to have 100 drawings or whatever in a shot. It's way more than 100 in this shot. It's going to be closer to 400. Yeah, you just gotta get them done as fast as you can, I suppose. You know, I could draw them quicker. Could go even faster, but then I think that the level of quality would be noticeably suffering, I think. Okay, square that off at the bottom. I'll see what the chat is saying before I get on to the next arm. Harry, oh, I saw a question there and it's gone already. Hang on. Harry, have you moved completely to Harmony? Do you still use Flash on occasion? Ed, I still use Flash. In fact, why don't we go over to Flash in a minute and take a look at what we've been working on, because I'm still using it for compositing and things like that. So I'm still putting everything together in Flash. I don't really understand Harmony, although a friend of mine, Ollie Putland, has I don't know if I should say this or not, but it sounds like he may have possibly got an extra copy of Harmony that he will give to me, he said. So if that's true, and if he comes through on that, and I'm sure he will, I will probably try and learn a lot more of Harmony's ins and outs, and actually do a lot more of my animating in it, because I know it can do everything that Flash can. It's not that Flash is superior, it's just that I know Flash and I'm lazy and I don't want to learn new software. Cartoons take me long enough to make as is. I don't want to, on top of that, be having to constantly figure out how to do something simple that I could do in Flash in 2 seconds, like, you know, have the camera move or whatever. Okay. No, come on, Harry boy. I need to figure out if the if there's going to be overshoot on this shot. Like, when he hits his temple there, is he going to kind of jump, you know, go up first and have the temple pushed in really far by the finger, or is it just going to settle? I need to figure that out. Oh boy. So let's tidy up some of these lines here, or not tidy them up, but put them in, and then have him. All right. Well, it's not great, but whatever. So, what have I done today? Today, I think I did all of these drawings here today. I started somewhere around here. It's depressing. It's not enough. Gotta work faster. Shouldn't really be on live stream, honestly. That's part of the reason I'm going slow right now. But it's nice. I haven't talked with you for a while. It's nice to let you guys know I'm still alive. I'm still making stuff. This cartoon is so nearly done. It's so nearly done, given the size of the thing, you know? Mr. Matamation says, I don't think Blender's 2D tools are nearly as intuitive as people like to act like they are. I have not tried it yet. I'm happy enough with Toon Boom for the time being. Hey, Gucksack is in the chat. Everyone, Gucksack is Dave in the chat, and Dave actually is working on this cartoon. He's doing a major 3D CGI sequence that there was no way on earth I was going to be able to do. I did some 3D modeling for the backgrounds that you see in the cartoon, but this is like a full animated part where we're flying through this void with all these different objects. I mean, you'll see. I don't want to give it away, but yeah, Dave has contributed a lot to the cartoon. And Dave actually has a question. I just scrolled past. Dave said, "What made you move to Harmony to do these parts?" It's the drawing tools, actually. So in Flash, I'll try and give an example. Let's say I've got to draw an arm or something. This is probably not going to work now. It's always that a watched pot never boils. Is that the phrase? Trying to do it on camera. But let's say I got to draw Dogtooth's arm. Okay. Hang on. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Something like that. Blah, blah, blah. Don't know what his fingers are going to be doing here, but anyway, you can see there's some slightly... There's not really anything there, but sometimes in Flash you get these wanky lines that don't look any good. Oh, these all look pretty good. Okay, but look, there's a really bad one. You see how it goes thick and thin there in the middle? This one is pretty consistent, but this one goes thick and thin. It goes thin right there in the middle. Never happens in Toon Boom. Also, cleanup is quicker in Toon Boom. You can see there how that line overlaps. Or a better example would be how that line right there is overlapping. In Flash, literally, because everything becomes one layer, you have to go in with the eraser tool. And I know that's not a major error right there I had to fix. But in Toon Boom, it's a lot easier because you have the cutter tool. So if I draw 2 lines, first of all, you never get bad lines. Every line just looks nice always. You never get funky lines. But if I really want to quickly draw a square and all the lines are overlapping, I can go in with the cutter tool and really quickly clean that up. That would take a lot longer to get a nice clean square like that in Flash. So there's that. There's also the envelope tool. So, you know, if you want to draw Mr. Happy and you want to sort of mush him around, you can kind of do that in Flash. The eye disappeared there, but it's a lot harder to do it in Flash and get good results. And that's very useful in when I'm animating. I can go in and kind of grab, you know, a body part. Let's say I wanted this arm to kind of be up here more. You can do that very quickly, say, and that gives you a lot more mileage for your drawing because you can get away with fewer drawings. So yeah, Toon Boom's just, in general, it's a lot better than Animate. Animate is the new name for Flash. I still call it Flash sometimes. Hey, Glass Cake, good to see you in the chat. Oh, Dave is working on the cartoon now. His sequence, his 3D sequence. But yeah, let's go over to Flash. Now I'm done bad mouthing it. Let's take a look at some of the frames we've done. See how long it's taken to export because of just how many drawings we've got in this file. Oh boy. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, and people that identify as neither, I am going to go away and come back in a minute. I'm actually going to visit the PP haha room, as I call it, and we'll take a look at the animation we've done in a moment. When I come back, I'll be right back. Bye-bye. Hello, and I'm back from the PP hee hee ha ha room, which is where I do all my counting. I had to go and quickly crunch some numbers, and we are here now. We're going to take a look at the animation we've been working on. So, Dogtooth. You have to bear in mind, guys, there's no lip sync, and you may not be able to hear the audio. Yeah, can you even hear that? I'm not sure if you can hear him talking. You can probably hear me belching, but that's okay, as long as you can't smell that.
It's no stake to the heart or silver bullet, but I know.
Okay. Stake to the heart or silver bullet. So this is the frame we're on. And this is what we've just done. Oh, got these frames here. So yeah, we're at the point where there's like 110 drawings already, and I am not yet halfway done with this horrible shot that's taking forever. So this is not done yet. Remember, this movement is really going to be very blocky and chunky.
Silver bullet, but I know your weakness. But I know you.
Yeah, so that's obviously needs a lot more timing kind of corrections.
Silver bullet, but I know your weakness. But I know.
It's not too bad, but the ending kind of. I think I do want to have him. I feel like the lines are thicker on these lines than these lines. Maybe I need to switch to a thicker brush. But yeah, he needs to kind of pop up at the end here. Almost like this, right? Like he's going to kind of overshoot.
But I know your weakness. But I know your weakness, Ace.
Okay.
But I know your.
Well, we may be able to do that fairly easily. Let me see. Hit save. Go back to Toon Boom, and I'll see what people are saying in the chat. Oh, my computer doesn't like that. My computer does not like me saving and trying to switch programs. Oh, you can hear it. You can hear it from the speakers. Well, there you go. You can probably hear my... Well, Tamagotchi says I love the accent. Thank you. No, yeah, thank you, man. He's not an American this time. It's basically just Harry, says Terranium. Thank you. Yeah, he's pretty much just me. And he looks a bit like me too. I know. It was kind of intentional. Hopefully it'll all make sense in the end. I swear I'm not a mad egomaniac. Well, I kind of am, but hopefully I'm good at... Hopefully I'm a good one. I don't know what that means. Right, okay. Okay, so we want him to kind of... What brush am I using? 8. I guess it needs to be a 9. I don't know about that, but these lines look skinny to me. They look skinny, and these lines look fat. So I have some poses similar to this one, because I actually reused his down position. Yeah. So I should have him up high. Yeah. Should have him up high. Because I did reuse a bunch of... Because I just had so much work to do on this one shot. I thought anytime that he's crouching down and kind of get away with reusing some poses and just changing the arms. Oh, wait. That is the same pose. Oh, shit. I thought... Damn, I guess this was... Okay, so I do need to do a new drawing there. Because I have one where he's like this, and then one where he's slightly down like this. I thought this was the down one, but this is the up one. So I've actually got to go in and draw something fresh for that. Sorry, this made sense to me. May not have made the most sense to you, poor viewer. Dear reader, dear wizarding reader. Wizard people, dear reader. So we're going to sort of overshoot here and have the animation come in like that. So sticking it right in his own temple there. Something like that. And he's going to have... the arm. I'm gonna not overshoot the arm. I used to overshoot whenever I had characters kind of step over their final position and overshoot. I used to have them their whole body would do it, and I wouldn't sort of delay any body parts, and it's okay, but it's a bit lazy. So I'm actually going to make sure that this arm is not overshooting. This arm is not caught up yet. But then the shoulder does sort of want to catch up, so it's tough. Like, is the shoulders overshooting, but the arm is not? Maybe the shoulder is coming up like that. Oh, this is a tough frame to figure out. The shoulder's coming over. Kind of would be better actually had I not had this arm. Maybe I can cut that arm off behind the jacket. Oh well. Have this arm sort of dragging, and then I could overshoot it on the next bit. So, okay, this will make sense in the end, I think. Neck's going to be overshooting, so we want the collar to definitely pop up a little bit, and then the jacket sort of swoop. It's going to be just catching up with its motion there. Oh boy. Hang on now. Hang on now. What's the jacket doing? Oh boy. It's so much easier if you just in between everything and turn your brain off, but you kind of got to think of the different parts of the body, how they all move at different speeds. Sorry guys, I'm I'm not really getting to the chat. I realize I'm so focused on what's happening here and getting this to work. What's that thing Richard Williams always says? Don't live stream while you're animating. I think that was his advice. That kind of works, I think. Have him as the body pop up just a little bit more. Okay, and I think if that... His nose is really dragging there, but it's kind of fun. If that can be cleaned up without me turning into a strange being, then I should have a good frame there, and then we can just sort of nice subtle in-betweens for the rest of the motion, getting it all into place. And I mean, why can I not paste this onto the layer below? There we go. That's what we need. And I'll see what people are saying. Don't go on youtube.com and show your work in progress. Richard Williams, 1981. Yep. The famous day where he went up behind Milk Carl and asked Milk Carl, one of Disney's 9 Old Men, if he live streams speed runs while he works. Excuse me, Milt, you live stream speed runs while you work? This is very silly animator in-jokes. If you've ever read the Animator Survival Guide by Richard Williams, it is seriously the best book written on learning to animate. It's so good, and it's so nicely written, and it's so easy to follow. And there's a DVD series that he did as well. He comes across like a kind of he comes across like I'm trying to think of a nice way of putting this, because I do mean it in a nice way. I guess an obsessive, really. He's very, very committed and very obsessive, and he has no time for people that don't take animation seriously. And I don't take animation that seriously, despite appearances. I do get that it's kind of, for me at least, it's just a fun way of telling stories. I want it to be as good as it possibly can be, but I don't care that much about it being just completely amazing in terms of quality. And he definitely did. But that was what made him such an amazing artist and such an amazing professional, and why he was suited to being the animation director on Who Framed Roger Rabbit, of all things, which has just completely outstanding animation in it. His eyes are really going over the brim of his hat here. I don't know what to tell you. I've had a lot of trouble with this character, and what should I prioritize when the eyebrows are needing to be visible? Do I have them go over the brim of the hat like a cartoon? Do I have them go under and keep the realism? I just keep going back and forth on it. A little bit like I did some animation for Cartoon Network on OKKO, if anyone knows that show, and I worked on the shorts that happened before the show was commissioned. I worked on Barrel and Crates and one called Enid's Bad Day, and the character of KO in it, he has, they may have fixed this now, but back when we were working on it, they had he could blink with his pupils, like his little pupils would blink like Sonic the Hedgehog, or he'd blink normally with his eyelids. And I remember asking Jake of Studio Yotta, I said, well, which one do we do? Like, I see that he can do both. Is there a preference? And Jake just said, just do what you want. Just do what you want. It doesn't matter. And I did do what I wanted. And I have shots where he blinks both with his eyes and with his eyelids, with his pupils and with his eyelids. But it totally works. And it actually, I feel like people probably don't even notice it. It totally, you get away with it. So I don't know if I'm getting away with eyebrows over the hat lid here. Hat lid? Hat brim. Don't know if I'm getting away with that, but I'll keep doing it. It's like in anime when you see the eyebrows through the hair, you know? Sometimes you want to see the expression of the character. It's more important than realism, I guess, sometimes. Hey, Gucksack Dave says, I finally started reading it 3 days ago after all the... Wow, you went and got a copy. Or you found it online, or you stole it from a poor child that wanted to learn animation. It's a really good book. It's really, really good. Guys, I was talking about Dave earlier, but for those of you that weren't in the chat, Gucksack is Dave. It's a fantastic channel. You should check out Gucksack anyway. They do tons of great comedic shorts with amazing special effects, dating back years and years now. But Dave is working on Dogtooth. He's doing a CGI sequence that is really coming out well. It is amazing. I am so happy with it, and I can't wait to see it totally finished. The whole cartoon, I can't wait to see it finished. Not because I'm enthusiastic about the whole thing, just because I want to see the back of it. But Dave's shot, I'm very enthusiastic about. It's cool. It's like nothing I've ever had in a cartoon before. I've never had CGI and cool 3D stuff before. And you may be wondering, how the hell does that fit in the story? But it does. It totally works. Gotta make this hand work here. I don't know what I'm doing here. It's all gone a bit pear-shaped. Okay, so this is our overshoot frame where we're really having him go over the line a bit. Hey, Arch Hippie. Boy, there's a bunch of people in the chat I've not said hello to yet. The Ledge, Arch Hippie, Joe Dudit. Guys, I can't keep up with all the comments today, but it's really, really nice to see you come by. Hipster Elephant, Pleasantly, 357 Sneak. Hey, thank you. 357 Sneak says, I loved those KO shorts. Yeah, the shorts are really good. The animation is a lot better in the shorts, I think, than the show, which is understandable because it's easier to make an animated TV show. Sorry, it's easier to make a one-off short than it is a full, 23 episode season or whatever of an animated show. So I totally get that they wouldn't be the same in terms of quality. Plus, Studio Yotta employs some extremely talented people. I don't know what I was doing there, but you have people like Jake Gans, you have people like Paul Tavord was there, numerous people that I never even spoke to and I can't remember their names, but Jaxamoto, Jaxie was there. I think she did like a producer type job on that one. I think that's her capacity there as an animator and also more of a producer organizer role, but some very talented people. And I think honestly Cartoon Network, I don't know what they paid for that, but I think they got their money's worth big time. I can't imagine they paid enough to justify how good okay KO shorts were that Studio Yotta did, and also Planet Panic. I worked on that as well. If you look up Planet Panic, is a short by Studio Yotta based on a webcomic, and that has just beautiful animation. It's a really great looking short, and I don't think it's getting a show, but if it does, if it ever gets a show, mark my words, the show will not look as good as the short film, the short animated short, because it's just so good looking. Okay, so we're just... I don't know why the torso moves up before the legs. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. I'm hoping we can kind of get away with it. I kind of feel like the hips would be driving him popping up like that, but I guess his body is rocking up as well, kind of rotating on his hips. And then hair too. Oh boy. This is, oh gosh, I'm gonna have to clean this one up in a minute. Let me see what people are talking about in the chat. Joe Dudit says, Harry, if you were offered the opportunity to work with Genndy Tartakovsky, would you take it? No, I wouldn't, because I like working on my own things. I like his stuff a lot. I like it a lot. I did a project on Genndy when I was in university, and I love Samurai Jack, and I love Dexter's Lab, and Primal looks really cool. I've not watched it properly, but yeah, he's an amazing guy. Hotel Transylvania is amazing. He's absolutely amazing and talented, but I want to work on my own stuff. So, you know, if I had to do it, you know, if I was offered a choice and I had to pay the rent somehow and I could only do, you know, working on job A or with Genndy Tartakovsky, I would take the Genndy job 9 times out of 10, but I like working on my own stuff, so that's my current goal for the time being. I really just want to tell stories with my own characters. I think that's the greatest pleasure outside of probably having a kid, and I want to have a kid one day. I want to get on that sometime soon, because that's not going to wait forever. You know, I haven't made one of those yet, so I can only make cartoons at the moment. But yeah, making stuff's fun. Make something original if you can, if you possibly can. A human being, a sandwich, a cartoon. All right. Mr. Matamation says, I'm still waiting for them to order Smiling Friends to a full season. Oh, Mr. Matamation, if only I could give you an update on that. Fingers crossed. If you've not seen Smiling Friends by Michael Cusack and Zach Hadel, guys, check it out. It's tremendous. I was very, very excited for that to come out. I remember speaking to Zach in October of last year, actually. I saw him last year in person, and I remember saying, Zach, when's it out? Show me, I want to see it. Being a little fanboy. And Zach, you know Zach, 6'4", Aryan guy. Blue eyes, blonde hair. He said, quiet nerd. And he squirrelied me, and he made me lick his boots. But yeah, I was very, very excited for it. I'm definitely a fan of Zach. I love everything he does. feel like this frame will work in motion. I think it's sort of like the fix it in post when you're animating. You just go like, well, it'll work in motion. It looks terrible right now, but hopefully when it's all moving at, yeah, you know, 24 frames a second, it'll be okay. It'll work out. First time ever seeing one of your streams. Love your work, Harry. Hey, Ultimate Prototype 13, thank you for coming by. Appreciate it. Wallach says, on the topic of kids, at what age do you think you'd be comfortable showing your kids your more daring works? My age or their age? No, I know, you know what you mean. You know what? I actually think you can show pretty messed up stuff to kids at any age, depending on the kid. Because, I mean, I saw stuff meant for older people when I was really young, and it didn't really do, you know, old joke, as one eyelid flickers, it didn't do me any damage. But I had parents that were really good and explained what was happening and that it was, or, you know, make-believe or whatever. They didn't show me, you know, fisting Fireman 12. They didn't show me anything ridiculously adult, but I think I saw films that were rated, over here we have 18 and 15 age ratings for films, and I think I saw films that were that sort of rating when I was, you know, 4 or 5 or so. And my parents, if I didn't like it, they'd turn it off. I mean, a lot of stuff kids don't actually understand. I think that's really, if it's, you know, it's dirty dialogue, they're not necessarily going to pick up on that. I think if it's scary, that's something they can handle usually, as long as they're not, you know, too scared of that kind of stuff. Blood and gore that's photorealistic, I don't think you'd want to show a young kid, and you wouldn't want to show them anything kind of kinky. I would stay away from that. But I don't know, I feel like by probably about 10 they could handle just about anything, and probably in most cases a lot younger than that. I don't know, I'm not a parent yet, so I can't say how I feel about that sort of stuff, really. I think you gotta have that lived experience to know where you stand, really. All I know is that when I was young, when I was about 6 years old, 6 or 7, that was when I first found a VHS tape, if anyone remembers those, in HMV, which is a chain of like music video entertainment store over here in Britain. Sold videos, you know, now they do DVDs and games, and it was an animated film with an 18 certificate. I was just at the age where I was starting to look at certificates, you know, age ratings on movies, and realize if I could watch it or not. And I was looking at it, and it was an 18, and it was, I can't remember what it was. It was Akira or Wicked City. It was obviously an old pre-mid 90s anime, because this must have been 93, 94. And I remember looking at it and going like, this is a cartoon, but it's rated for adults. That doesn't make any sense. And it blew my mind. And I remember going to my dad, who I was shopping with, and saying, you know, Dad, can we get this? What is this? And he's like, no, that's not for you. Put that back. He said, that's weeb shit. And he slapped it out of my hand. No, he said, you know, you're not getting that. And I said, but it's a cartoon. And he said, well, you know, it doesn't matter. And I remember that was just, from that moment on, I was absolutely entranced by the idea that I could, you know, there were cartoons out there that were for adults, and I don't think that ever left me. You could make a cartoon filthy and put blood and gore and half-naked ladies in it, so that probably was what did the damage. So, as me saying I'm not damaged by anything, I probably am. Figment says, I watched Ghost in the Shell at 7 years old. Yeah, that's young. So you watched it last week? Ha! No, I know you're not 7 years old, Figment. I don't know what I was going for there. Yeah, that is young. I think I watched Akira about the same age. I actually borrowed it from my friend Byron, who was a couple years older than me, but also into anime. I didn't call it anime back then. I called it manga. And the reason I called it manga is because pretty much all of the anime at that point in Britain that you could easily get hold of was distributed by a company called Manga Video. And I just thought that was the name of the genre. Like, you know, like calling an animated film a Disney or something. I just thought that was, you know, that a manga was a Japanese animated film. So I called them all mangas. And I didn't even say manga, which I know is how you're supposed to say it. I say manga, and I say Super Mario because I'm from Great Britain, okay? Deal with it. It's just the way I spake. Okay, you. So he comes up and. You know what? I'm going to start this frame over again, and there was nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to favor the final position, and the final position is going to be the green line here. Oops, hang on. Yeah, the green line. And I was drawing it right smack bang in the middle. That's where I was putting my in-between, and it would be a lot better if I really favored the green position, I think. And so I'm going to try and go for that now. Really get it to nicely, because then you've got, he goes up, he overshoots, and then he snaps really quickly down. And if I drew it smack bang in the middle, it would be too much of a slow kind of ease into that final position, I think. And we want something a little snappier than that, I think. Hey, Northy Tunes, thank you for coming by. Harry, do you remember the manga entertainment trailers for anime movies? Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Well, here's the thing. So I told you that my dad wouldn't get me one of those mangas, as I called them, one of the manga films. He wouldn't buy me one because I was not allowed to get an animated film that was rated for, you know, for adults. But my dad is a real fan of stop motion animation. And about a year or two later, he went and bought a film called The Secret Adventures of Tom Thumb by these guys called the Bolex brothers, and it's a stop motion animated film from the, I think, early 90s, mid and late 80s, that's very creepy. It's like a kind of almost like a Tim Burton kind of experiment, and he went and bought himself this film because he likes stop motion, and he let me watch it. It really wasn't anything too graphic. There's a few scary moments, but it's you know, it's okay for a youngish kid. And it was distributed by Manga Entertainment, and because it was distributed by Manga Entertainment, it had adverts at the beginning for anime. So it had an Akira advert, and they were long, they were a couple of minutes long, and it had all this anime footage, and that was the first time I ever actually got to see anime moving. It was about age 7 or 8. No, I must have been 7. Yeah, I guess I was still 7 years old at this point. I guess I found them at age 6. This was the first time I ever saw them move. This was around 1994. And yeah, he and that like, oh, like that just made me get the bug even more. But then my mum and dad split. They were separating, so the videos my dad wouldn't buy me, haha, guess what, I went to my mum and I said, hey mum, can I buy this? It's a cartoon, you know. And my mum really didn't look at the it was PG, it was 13, it was Tenchi Muyo, so she was okay with it being PG, and she was like, yeah, you can buy that. So she bought me my first anime VHS, which was Tenchi Muyo. Anyway, but yeah, I remember those trailers. Really they were a big deal for me. David Gucksack says, my dad is an uncredited extra in Tom Thumb. Gucksack means his dad, Terry Brain, who, look up the work of Terry Brain. Fantastic animator, made a lot of incredibly important kids shows back in the 80s on British TV, like Trapdoor. And I didn't know your dad worked on Tom Thumb, but that makes sense to me, because I did think it was made in Britain. The weird thing about Tom Thumb, there's a lot of weird stuff about it, it's a weird film, but is that it's a stop motion film with puppets, but it also uses pixelation, which is nothing to do with pixels. It's stop motion human beings. So they'd have this tiny puppet of the Tom Thumb character that was probably about 5 inches tall or so, and then human beings would interact with him, but they would be stop motion animated. So they would be moving, you know, frame by frame, take a photograph, move another frame, take a photograph, move another frame, take a photograph. And then somebody else, I assume another animator, would be moving the puppets, and you get this really weird look where you know, the animators, the puppets would be interacting like in real time with human beings. Like, looks like Nightmare Before Christmas, but with human beings in it. Check out the Secret Adventures of Tom Thumb. I'm sure you can find a trailer, and check out Trapdoor too. I like stop motion a lot. I kind of wish I could do it, but I gotta say, I experimented with it briefly in university, and I probably did myself a disservice by not using a proper setup. I didn't have well-made puppets, or I wasn't using like a good studio or anything, but everything I was doing was done very just quickly, hastily put together. Little clay guys with wire in them, and I barely spent any time building them, and they just kept falling over and falling apart. And I would move, you know, my elbow would bang the desk that I had the camera on, and then the camera would have now moved, and I didn't know how I could set it back, you know, and I'd already shot half the scene, and I just didn't have the patience for it. But I think it might be fun to do some one day and give it a real proper go, like a proper studio and lights, and actually put a little bit of money into it and use some technology so that things like the camera moving wouldn't be a big consideration. There's stuff, obviously you'd buy a tripod and lock the thing down, but there's also you know, having a it's like, you know, you can get digital stuff where you can actually go back and see the frames you've already filmed live on the fly and make sure you're matching them, kind of thing. Just trying to get the jacket to move nicely here. Guys, don't give characters lots of floppy stuff. Like the Starbarians have got floppy hair and floppy capes and floppy fur. Dogtooth's got he's got a floppy jacket. You know, the more flaccid your character, the more you have to worry. I shouldn't use that word. I shouldn't have said flaccid. It's based on me after all. No, you shouldn't be you shouldn't have to worry about that kind of stuff too much if you limit it. But then you have all this, you know, animation. You have to go and kind of make sure that it all animates nicely, because something like a jacket, a big floppy jacket, takes a while to settle once the characters have stopped moving, and it can become a real burden to animate. I was looking at some anime today, actually, some stuff I'd not seen before, a show called Seven Deadly Sins, and I don't watch that much modern anime, but I tend to look at it and try and, because I know they don't, you know, draw that many in-betweens or whatever, and I look at it and try and hunt ways to do things quickly. And I was just looking at it today, and I was reminded that they just don't bother. You know, it's just if the character's going to stop moving in 3 frames, it doesn't matter that they've got a big long cloak. They might add an extra 2 frames of the cloak settling and only animate the cloak, but most of the time they just don't bother with that. You know, they just have it act like it's stiff, which is sometimes the way you got to do it, you know, to get stuff done. Alright guys, I've been in Harryland for a while now. Let me see the chat, make sure you guys are doing okay. Hey Movie Blast, thank you for coming by. Have you seen Philip Summers' hand-drawn game guides? Yes, I have, and I have one of the second printing coming my way. Yeah, so one of the I tried to order it on the first day, and it was just too much for me. It was over in it wasn't too much in terms of price. It went out within a minute of going on sale, and by the time I put in my bank details, it had gone already. But I got one in the second batch that he put up a few days later, so I guess I'll have it sometime in August. And oh, Frank Summers, is Philip Summers your brother? I didn't know that. Awesome, dude. And by the way, hello Frank Summers, thank you for coming by. But I didn't know the Summers boys were related. Yeah, man, I can't wait to get that thing. I'm so excited for it. If anyone doesn't know, Philip Summers, good artist and animator, in fact, great artist and animator. He's produced hand-drawn video game guides for retro Nintendo games, which are like strategy guides, but they're hand-drawn, you know, and there's really beautiful watercolor paintings and ink drawings, and he's been selling digital versions of them. Look up Philip Summers hand-drawn game guides. hand-drawn game guides, and he's only recently doing physical versions that actually are printed and sold that way, and he's doing one for Zelda. He's just put one out for Zelda, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. In fact, if you want a digital copy, you can go and pick up one right now. I believe the physical ones have all sold out now, but you can go and get a digital one and read it immediately. And I think you can get it for very little money, because it's a pay what you think is worth it kind of deal. So, you know, be decent. Don't take advantage, but it's very fair of him to sell it for a non-fixed price. And I can't wait to get it. I've never actually played the first Zelda game. I don't play that many games, and I didn't have a Nintendo growing up. But I had a Super Nintendo, but I didn't have the original Nintendo, and I never had any Zelda games. So I've decided I'm going to take the day off and play through the first Zelda game with Joyce, using the Philip Summers hand-drawn game guide whenever it arrives, hopefully sometime in August. And I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be like navigating some alien world with a field manual, you know, drawn by a local. I'm really looking forward to it. And also, we're going to be playing it on the Switch, which has the rewind feature. So if we get destroyed by Ganon or whatever, or by some random, what do you call them, Dodongo, we will be doing the rewind feature. Hey, Northy Toon says, Harry, do you commission voice acting? I mean, I've not done it recently. I don't think I've ever been paid for voice acting, actually. I've done it for free, but not recently. I'm a little busy right now, but I mean, hey, if you want to send something my way, maybe we could talk about it. Never say never. I need to get this bit of animation finished and wrap up the stream is what I need to do. So I'm going to start using cheap, dirty tactics like copying and pasting to try and get this thing over the line. It's not because I want to get out of here, guys. It's only because my throat is aching a little bit. You can probably hear it. Oh boy, $150 for a background. Movie Blast is helping out Tamagotchi with a question about paying for backgrounds. That's more than I think I would both pay and charge. So I would think you could get it cheaper than that. But it really depends. I would assume for that price they're going to be very high quality. Hey, Immortal Demon, thank you for coming by. What's the hardest shot you've had to animate in this cartoon, Harry? Yeah, I think I can tell you. It is the one where... So Dave, if he's still around, is working on the 3D shot. And I think that's going to be the one, that's the one shot with the most work being put into it, probably. And it's, but it's not being done by me, it's mostly done by Dave. I just do a little bit of 2D animation that's in the beginning and the end of the shot. That's a lot of work, but ones that I've done, there's one that was really tricky. I mean, this one I'm working on right now is the one with the most drawing in it. It's just got the most animation by far. But that's not necessarily always the hardest thing. There's one where the shot is of Dogtooth putting on a hat. which doesn't sound very hard. But then the hat dissolves to be a drawing of a hat, and then a hand comes in, and you see the hand drawing. Fuck it, why don't I just show you? Don't tell anyone. Why don't I just show you the shot? Because it's going to be way too freaking hard for me to be trying to explain what I'm talking about. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to try and open up some stuff, okay? Give me a darn tootin' minute. Give me a second. In fact, I'll go away for a minute and I'll be right back. Give me a sec, guys. Hello, I'm back, and I took a lot longer than I expected, but give me one moment. Gonna close the door. Yeah, so I took an opportunity to use the PPT ha 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 room and get myself a drink. Hear this? Ah, that is the sound of a man that is about to be 48 teaspoons of sugar heavier, because I just got a can of Coca-Cola, and I was going to show you guys a shot. As somebody asked, I forget, I'm sorry, who asked, what was the hardest shot that I've had to do, and it was this one. Not hard from a workload, because the one I'm currently on is probably the most I've had to work on a shot, but hard from a purely, like, practicality sense of getting everything to work. So, let me see. Let me have a sip of drink. Okay, so there's no sound. This is like a low-res render. I'm not going to show you anything with bells and whistles, okay? Getting the gloves, getting the boots. Hat. Transition to drawing. Boom. Zoom out. It's a comic panel being worked on. It's now a stack of comics. Dogtooth comes in. Whoosh. Fade to the next shot. That was actually a lot harder than it looks. I'll show you one more time, guys, because it was hard because I had no intention for it to all be one shot, and I had the hat animated. Oh, sorry. Let me go back to the hat. Go back to the hat. Shujung. I had the hat animated and a totally different comic panel. Then I totally changed the comic panel and I animated the hand drawing, but it was to a different comic panel, so I reanimated the hand. I had him coming in and picking them up animated as a totally different action, so I had to reanimate that. I had to change the cover. I had to do all this stuff, and it took, you know, I'm not kidding, like 5 times longer than it should have taken. I'll show you one more time without me interrupting it and talking over it like a goon. It took so much longer than it should have taken, and that's because of piss poor planning. Piss poor planning produces poor production. I can't remember what the saying is, but yeah, man, it's like the 6 P's or whatever. I mangled it because I didn't plan, and when people, you know, I've told people the next one I'm going to plan out so very well, it'll take a lot less time. I don't blame them for not believing me, but the fact of the matter is, once you plan it and you know exactly what's going to be in every shot, and you don't just jump into random shots like an idiot, like I did on this one, things take a lot less time. So I'll show you one more time. There you go. And I'll end it there, and I'll take you back to the boring grey world of animation. So yeah, I hope you liked taking a look at that preview. Thank you for saying kind things in the comments, guys. Yeah, I thought it was a nice transition. Yeah, I like that moment too. I like thinking like a director. I want to put more of that kind of stuff in. Can't find my damn glove. Give me a second. Where's my damn glove? My little glove that I use to stop smudging the screen when I draw. I got it. I found it. It was on the other side of the room. I took it off before I peed, which was the right thing to do. You don't want to be, you know, you don't want to be handling anything like that with the same glove you're going to keep on while you draw. Alright, so we're back to trying to get this all together now. Let me see if there's anything in the chat that I could take on. Hey, thank you, JPED. He said, JPED said it's an awesome sequence. Looks awesome, Harry. Thank you, Figman. Tasset, says you're insane in a good way. Thank you, appreciate it. Those shots were all separate in your original plan. Yes, they were. And not only did I plan them separately, I animated them completely out of order, not knowing how they'd link together, and I had to undo and redo so many things, you know? Shucharu asks a pressing question: does Hogstrong have the same amount of nipples as any other hog? No. He has 2 nipples, I think. I think he just has 2 nipples. Simon is Shucharu in the chat, by the way. And in fact, a long time ago, I should have mentioned this, Simon, Shucharu in the chat, worked on this cartoon. There's a sequence where Dogtooth is talking to a monster, and there's a lot of shots, and also the fight scene as well he worked on. The fight scene and the scene directly after the fight scene were worked on with he and Patrick, Doodle, and also Blair, Unserious Guy, Blair Lawrence Parnaby. So some really good animators worked on this cartoon, but it was a long time ago. Back when I thought, oh, if I just get some animators to come on board, I can get this thing done really quickly. But I didn't have it planned out, and it's taken forever to get it to this point. But it's nearly done now. It's nearly done now, and I can't wait to be done with it. I would like to hire folks like Simon in the future and work with more animators, but they need plans. It's not really fair to bring an animator onto a project and not even show them an animatic. I didn't have an animatic. There was nothing to show. Just random shots being assigned. I was working on random shots. It was all just badly planned. So, you know. So that's me. That's how I make cartoons. I just jump in like a mad idiot and have to figure out the mess later on. But it sounds romantic that way, but it ain't really. It means you end up paying more money, taking longer, and being frustrated, and probably making something lesser as a result. So makes sense to plan. You should plan if you can. Tyler asks, if a studio came to me and asked me to make a film as a writer-director, would I take the opportunity? Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm doing now, but without the studio support. Yeah, I have lots of ideas for movies. I have lots of ideas for films I'll never make, but you know, that I don't love. And I was just thinking, can I go into some now? And I should probably go into the ones that I'm not going to make. But yeah, I would love to do that. And that is kind of what I hope to do. I think that Dogtooth is an idea that has some legs. I think that Starbarians has some legs, but needs a little bit more work in that area, in the leg department. And I have a couple of other ideas as well. And I'm young, I'm only 57, you know, I'll be able to do it eventually. I joke, I'm not 57, but my gosh, isn't that insulting to people that are 57 when you make a joke about you shoot out a really old age, and unless you know unless it's older than like 110, someone probably is that age, so it's kind of unfair. I remember my mum at her wedding, she got remarried when I was 12, and I went, no, I wasn't 12, I was 15. She got it's not important. She got remarried, and she made some joke about being 60 one day, and I remember there was some old lady there that was probably, well, she wasn't even old, she was probably about 62. And she remember her going, oh, I'm 60. You know, I guess my mum wasn't really thinking there. But now my mum's older than 60, so, you know, happens. In case my mum is watching, and she does sometimes watch my live streams, I wanted to say, Mum, that was your friend Dawn who I'm talking about there, because I don't want my mum thinking I'm making up stories. No, I remember vividly. My mum probably didn't, because she was the one talking and like making some kind of speech because it was her wedding. But there was a lady, you know, there's a lady there that's a good bit older than her, one of her friends, who she inadvertently insulted, and that really stuck with me. I don't know why. How long will you be streaming? Davy says. Hey man, it's coming up to 2 hours now. I probably won't go much more beyond 20 minutes. I'd say I'll probably be wrapping up in about 20 minutes. Hey, Fun Cubes making a joke about the Dr. Bees movie. I actually do have a Dr. Bees movie written, if you can believe it, but I know it's not something I would want to make. It's more kind of, it was more just like a fun idea I had, and I thought I want to write this so I don't forget it out. Sorry, I want to write this out so I don't forget it. I need to write out my sentences before I say them. How about that, Harry? Yeah, it was more just, I think I had a really funny premise, so I wrote it out, but it's not like a thing I'm itching to make. It's just kind of, you know, it's funny. A while ago, Joyce bought me a booklet with, it's actually a baseball card display folder, right? With little plastic clear windows to display baseball cards. Or, you know, trading cards like Pokemon cards. You know, like folders you'd store Pokemon cards in? One of those, right? And all of these blank cards. Because I said that I wanted to start making little drawings every time I thought of something that really made me laugh. And that happens. I think of things that make me laugh, and I really want to do something with that as an idea or a joke, and then I forget it. And it's usually a visual thing, or it's like, you know, a little discussion between two people with a little punchline or a little joke. And the idea would be that I carry these cards in a pen around in my back pocket, and whenever I want to write one of these things down, I do that, and at the end of the day I can put it in my little filofax of jokes. I haven't used it yet because I'm lazy and I don't like the idea of carrying a pen around always, and honestly I haven't really been outside anywhere over the last couple of months because of the fucking virus, but it's something I probably will use eventually. And that, you know, that Dr. B's idea is an example. I have to write down ideas that come to me because I always forget them, and sometimes I've had ideas before that have made me really laugh and I can't remember what they were, and I'm so mad about that. I wasn't drunk, you know, I know there was something there that was making me laugh. I probably was drunk, but no, there were times where I definitely wasn't drunk and an idea made me laugh, and now I can't remember what it was. So I think it makes sense to, whatever way you can, to kind of record your ideas somehow. Tiana, I do not have Instagram. I decided to stop at Twitter and Facebook. I barely use Facebook as is. I'm too busy. Hey, is that Al and Dallas? Al and Dallas? Hey, Harry, nice to see you here. Your animations are part of the reason I'm trying to learn how to animate. Oh, well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming by and checking out the live stream. Really appreciate it. And there's a lot of people in the chat I'm not getting to. I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna try to get this shot or this moment finished with the head being touched there by the finger. I think I'll just add one more in between. And we may be able to Frankenstein it actually from this frame. Let's give that a go. You know what? It's more work, but it's more fun to draw it. Let's just draw it. Screw it, let's draw it. And I'll answer some questions if I can while I'm doing that. Hey, Mr. Madamation, thank you for coming by. Take care. Figment says she thought of a radioactive chicken lately and it made her laugh. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Do you know about the elephant's foot? I was looking up, I looked up the elephant's foot yesterday, speaking of radioactivity, and it's a thing in Chernobyl. It's a big lump of molten rock or something that's highly irradiated to the point that if you stand next to it for a few minutes, you'll die. That's not funny. I don't know why I brought that up, but it seemed animal related and radiation related, so Delaxia asks, does Dogtooth curse in the cartoon? No, he does not, actually. No, he gets close. He says, for the love of... You know, he kind of does that kind of old-fashioned Three Stooges, why you little Yotta? You know, he kind of does one of those, but he doesn't actually say any bad words. There is no visible blood, nudity, or bad language in this cartoon. I know. I know I've let you all down, you poor people. This is completely... I was going to say it's completely family friendly, but it's not. It's kind of scary in places and violent, and you know, there are ideas that are slightly creepy, I guess, but it's not really inappropriate. And that's not like a deliberate thing, like I'm trying to get around the YouTube censor. I just want this thing to have a slightly different vibe to my other work. Hey, thank you, Funcubes. I certainly do have some questions for you eventually when I have science, the next sort of science-based writing that I do. Unfortunately, I've been animating old scripts for so long, but I'm going to be working on the first Starbarians comic soon, and there are a couple of questions I think I'll have about science in that. Not that, you know, not that Starbarians is highly scientific, but I don't want to say, you know, I don't want to use the completely wrong terminology. I don't want to say asteroid when I use meteor, because that's not a joke, that's just me being clueless. So I wouldn't mind running a few things by you. Thank you. So we're really trying to favor that last position now. Really get that animation to look smooth as he eases into his position where he is sticking his finger in his temple. Oh, that's an offer to everyone? I thought it was just an offer to me, Fun Cubes. Didn't realize you were giving highly specific scientific advice to artists and creators all over. I thought it was just me. I feel so blue. Okay, all right. Hey, Innocent Bystander with a big super chat. Thank you very much. Innocent Bystander says, normally working when you're streaming, but what's the most annoying character to draw you have come up with? Ha ha! Ha ha! Oh boy. You're probably looking at him, actually. Oh, no. Yeah, I'm thinking, right? I mean, there's one-off things I've animated. There's a bit in one of the Skyrim cartoons, like the dragon when I guess it's not a character I came up with because it's Alduin from Skyrim, but having to animate him, it was technically, you know, my design interpretation of him as a character. That was horrible, and luckily I think I only animated 1 or 2 shots of him, and then it was handed off to Blitzwolf, who you can find on Twitter. She's a fantastic animator. She did that, and she nailed it, and it meant that I could run screaming for the hills. But there were just so many spines and ridges and bumps. That was a pain in the butt. But I'll be honest, man, I mean, I do have a habit of designing characters that are a pain in the ass to draw. Even though you only see them very briefly, the SWAT cops in the Payday cartoon. The Payday cartoon is not on my channel. It was never really finished. It's kind of a sad story, but it got turned into edited into kind of an April Fool's thing, and so a lot of that animation's never been seen, but you do see them briefly. The SWAT cops from the Payday cartoon in the April Fool's Day Payday trailer. If you just type in Payday Harry Partridge, you'll probably find it. They were really hard to animate because of all the kind of armor and SWAT gear on them. They were hard, but really Dogtooth, this character right here, he has a lot of detail on him. He's very, very annoying to animate for that reason, as is Kilgar and Hogstrong. But Kilgar, at the very least, moves in a kind of fast way. He's kind of prone to these fast, quick movements, like he sort of gets angry and his head snaps back and stuff like that. Hogstrong doesn't really do that. He moves in a slower way, and that is more annoying to animate. It's much more annoying to animate slow movements than fast ones. So it's probably Hogstrong and Dogtooth for characters that I've animated a lot of and that are completely my own design, but then the SWAT cops and Alduin from Payday and Skyrim respectively, if we're talking about things I didn't really come up with. Thank you for the super chat, really generous. Oh, pleasantly, you're reading about the elephant's foot? Yeah, it's terrifying, man. And it's called the elephant's foot because it looks like an elephant's foot. But it's just a big pile of molten slag or rock that came out of this, the reaction in Chernobyl. And if, you know, it'll kill you if you're near it for a couple of minutes because of how radioactive it is. It will turn you into, I was gonna say it'll turn you into Fallout Boy. Because, you know, it'd be cool if you turned into radioactive man, but I'd tell you what would be worse was if it made you like Fallout Boy the band. That would probably be the most hideous transformation you could undergo. Yeah. Okay. This is micro in-betweening right now. It's just really, you know, drawing these very, very small movements in, just to get the movement to really feel smooth, I think. How did you get voice actors to get in your cartoon? Asks Kawaii Hensai. I do all the voices myself, pretty much. When they're males, you know, I do them. When they're females, and not being done by me, you know, doing a bad impression of a woman, I just straight up went to... I go on Twitter and I say, hey, you know, I'm looking for a female voice actress. Please send me your demos. Usually I get a bunch of demos, but I mean, I haven't done that for a while because I've had the actresses in Starbarians have been my stepmom for one moment, and honestly it sounds like me doing a voice anyway, and then Marianne Miller, who voiced in episodes 2, 3 and 1.5, and I found her by going to a mutual friend. I said, do you know any good actresses? He said yes, and he set us up, and she's done a great job. So I haven't actually talked to any new voice actresses seriously about any projects for a while. I will work with some more, and I will work with some guys at some point too, because I'm running out of voices I can do. I don't want to do every single voice, and I got to admit, I mean, I can't do every single voice. I don't have the voice for it. But also, I'm really critical of my own performances, and I don't like them very much. And sometimes it's just easier to go with other people, because you kind of go, oh yeah, that's great. It sounds like bullshit, but it's true. I'm happier with other people's performances than I am with my own. I don't think I can do anything. So there is certainly a lot to be said for working with other talented people. I can't do every job. I just like to, because I got a big ego, and I just want to be the characters. It's sort of fun to do. Jack Wheeler asks, how do you keep the lines steady? Well, Jack, I'm working on a Cintiq, which is a tablet you draw directly onto, although there's a wonky line right there. You still get wonky lines, but I'm working in Harmony, Toon Boom Harmony, which has very, very nice lines. I was doing a little demo earlier of how much nicer the lines are to work with in Harmony versus Adobe Animate, which I used to use exclusively, and I now kind of only use it for compiling things. So Harmony helps. It's really good software. I think it'll make your drawing better. Sorry, your lines look nicer and smoother. Although I still have to make corrections like I just did then. And also, I'm working with a screen I draw directly onto, and I'm not working with a mouse. I'm not working on a tablet where I can't actually see where the tip of my pen is while I'm looking at the screen. It's all being done. It's all being saving. Let me start that sentence again. It's all a lot easier, I should say, working in the setup that I have. So, don't feel bad if your lines are a little bit shaky or whatever. It may be a question of software and hardware and stuff that you're using, so. Okay. All right, let me finish this bad boy. I think, guys, this is going to be the last frame, because I'm over 2 hours now, and I wanted to keep it under 2 hours. And I will love you and leave you, but first we will take a look at this little bit of animation that we have. And hopefully it's good, and I can move on to the next bit, where it's just going to be him repeatedly tapping his temple with his finger while he mocks somebody. Ooh. Those lines, that line just pops into existence there. Okay. I should do the trick. You know what? We may save. Now I've done the face. Face is the important part of the body. It's where people tend to look. I may save myself some time by doing a bit of reuse with the rest of the body that's left. What was that? We were talking about smooth lines earlier. There's some bad lines. There always are. You're gonna have to redraw lines, unfortunately. I also have the undo button programmed onto the side of the Cintiq, so I just hit undo all the time to redraw lines. There you go. There's one. There's another one. Come on. There we go. So let's grab this. Hopefully we can get away with reusing this again, because I've already used it once to try and save myself some time. Let's just sort of mush it around a bit, make it look a little bit less like I reused it. Try and hide Hide the shortcut any way you can. Redraw the thumb at least. Maybe redraw this little squiggle there on the knuckle. Let's draw these lines. Oh, no, it's the wrong pen I'm using there. Oh, wait, hang on a second. Thought I already drew this line. Did I undo it? I guess I did. It's annoying. There we go. Yeah, boy, put that in there. Let me see what are people saying. Davy says, how do you feel about the whole you gotta be the race? You mangled that question there, buddy, but I know what you're asking. How do you feel about the whole you have to be the race to voice the race thing? Yeah, message retracted. Good. I'm glad you retracted that mess. I don't know if I really want to get into that. Oh, yeah, you send the message correctly spelled out. Yeah, I don't know if I want to get into all that. I think that it is... The voice acting is acting, you know? And Chuck Jones said an animator is an actor with a pencil. They're not using their body, but they're acting. They're creating a performance that is supposed to convey emotion through a pencil. In my case, a Cintiq. But, you know, it's still kind of the same principle. And to me, an actor, a voice actor, is doing the same thing with a camera. No, they're not. Hang on, Harry, under your head, take out your brain, dust it off. Yes, they're doing the same thing with a microphone. And you can't really get away with playing somebody that doesn't look like you on camera unless it's for a joke, or unless you have really amazing prosthetics. It's going to be very distracting and weird. But when you can't see the person, I don't think it matters who the person is. You know, you know, Phil Lamar, who voiced Samurai Jack, he's not Japanese, but he's amazing as Samurai Jack. I wouldn't want anyone else to do that voice. Cree Summer is amazing. Wouldn't want someone else to do those voices. I'm trying to think. Hank Azaria, you know, he's great in the roles that he plays. I don't care that he's not Indian when he plays Apu. So, do I care about that stuff? Absolutely not at all. Do other people care about it? Yes, a lot. Do I really want to talk about it on my YouTube channel? Not particularly. So I guess I'll wrap it up there. Because I feel like, you know, if it works for voice actors, see, I'm fucking talking about it now. Thanks so much, Davy88, you monster, dragging me into this. The reason I brought up the Chuck Jones thing is because I'm animating right now, but I'm acting. I'm acting this character. Yeah, it happens to be a character that looks a lot like me, so I guess in that sense, it would be fine. But what if I wanted to animate someone that didn't look like me? They're a different age, different gender, different income, different race, whatever. I think I can do that with animation. I don't think you can tell someone that they can't act, you know, in the medium of their choosing, where you're not visually seeing them. Because if you can't voice act a character that isn't you, then can you animate a character that isn't you? Can you even write or paint a character that isn't you? Can you, you know, it seems so limiting to me. So that's not something I go in for at all, that kind of limitation. All right, well, we're done with talking about that, and we're done with this animation, I think. Let's take a look. Let's give the mic a big old whack with the Cintiq by mistake, and I will render out what we've got, and we'll take a look, and hopefully it looks okay. Oh boy, so we're at now 115 frames. So let's see.
But I know you.
But Hey, super chat from Innocent Bystander, another one. Thank you very much. Innocent Bystander says, what race is God? He's Morgan Freeman. That's not a question, but it's a good statement. So certainly Morgan Freeman plays a damn good god. Okay, so it comes up. We have that frame, right? I'm importing the frames into another folder. There we go, or another file, I should say. Thank you for the super chat, though. Appreciate that. Hopefully that'll do the trick.
But I know your weakness, eh, snapper chap?
That sort of works. I feel like he could go down a little bit. I may. Nah. I'm like, he just want him to be down a little bit longer before he pops up. I may add one more frame in. Oh gosh, what's the matter with me?
But I know your weakness, eh? Snap.
Yeah. So okay, guys, Harry is gonna add one more frame because Harry is sick in the head.
Silver bullet, but I know your weakness, eh?
So there we go. There we go. It's not quite done. I'm gonna add one more frame because I want him to go down a little bit slower, so I get that kind of contrast of easing into the position that he goes to when he goes down. In fact, maybe I can do that now. Can I do that on live stream? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with here. This is why it's going to be 400 damn drawings. Because I could probably reuse a lot of this one because it's sort of a easy kind of thing to. You know what? He's let's just resize him slightly. Ha ha! What's wrong with me? Beck Carmine asks, what is Snapper Chap's weakness? You're gonna have to watch the cartoon to find out. You're gonna have to just watch the cartoon, Beck. Don't blue ball us, Harry. You gotta watch the cartoon, man. Dave says, I can't say I won't blink when this new frame is finally aired. Yeah, no one's gonna care. Oh gosh. It's just hard to remain objective when it's your own stuff. Really, working with other people, that's a nice thing about it, because a lot of the time this kind of stuff, only you would notice it, you know? People that work with you won't always notice things that bother you. Okay. Yeet. See, we're starting to be able to. I'm just copying and pasting this frame, but I feel like we can almost get away with it. What I'm going to do is change lots of little things. I should do this more often. Whenever I do it, it usually works fine. You want to change the eyes and the nose. That's all the stuff people are gonna really notice, and maybe the jacket, and then everything else. Just change the eyes and nose, the jacket, and the hat, and everything else. And probably the hand, and probably the shoulder. Yeah, everything else is the same, and probably this bit too. Okay. Okay, so now we wanna okay. So yeah, this is sort of Frankensteining, like I talked about earlier, just taking frames you've already drawn, just seeing what bits and pieces you can kind of use to make a zombie frame that looks like it's living, but it's not. Hang on. Something like that for the strap. Hey, I don't know how to say your name. Pongolichi? When this finally comes out, what do you mean finally? What do you mean finally? You should definitely do a developer's commentary. I will on my Patreon. I'm gonna start doing... the thing is, I did a Starbarians 3 commentary, but it took me forever because I did all these... I sort of edited it, you know, and I had pictures come up on screen and clips of things I was talking about, which is, you know, cool and all, but it also made me not want to do another one because only about 3 people watched it. And I think I'm just going to do commentaries for all my old cartoons once I've done with this one, but I'm just going to do like basically a live stream, except it will be exclusive to Patreon. I'm just going to pause and talk about every little moment, and there'll be my little head in the bottom. I'll appear on camera, and they'll be kind of a lot lazier but a lot easier to produce, therefore I can get a lot more of them out. So I'll definitely do something like that when this is finally done. Pongolichi. Okay. And yeah, the top of his hat should look different too. Okay, I think that's coming together okay. We just want to put that hand in. Nope, 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 nope. What's going on here? My onion skin disappeared. There we go. Alright, so when I'm done with this frame, this really will be the live stream over, and I will leave you to get on with your lives. Hey, Figman, I appreciate you very much saying you missed being able to support me on Patreon. You're not missing anything. I gotta be honest, it's been a real dry spell on there now for a long time, and I've been on a sort of a constant apology tour. I just don't feel I can do really much of anything until this cartoon comes out. But you're not missing much, and I've said to people before that if they come on the Discord and then they are no longer able to support being a member, that doesn't mean they have to leave. They can always come by the Discord. So, you know, that I kind of do feel like you shouldn't, you know, if you get to be part of a community, you shouldn't have to leave just because, you know, you don't pay every month. So there's that as well. But thank you, I appreciate it. Trust me, you know, there hasn't been much lately. Although I do think that's going to change. I'm looking forward to doing the Starbarians comics after this, which will be the digital versions will be exclusive to Patreon supporters. So if you want to read, you know, a story with Kilgar and Hogstrong in, you'd have to be a supporter for that. Ha da da da. Hey, thank you, Socks and Joggings, for coming by. I'm sorry I hadn't said your name out loud yet. There's a lot of names I think I've missed in the chat. Thank you, appreciate you coming by. Any plans on printing the comics? Asks Stabby88. Yes, there are. There are, but there's nothing that I can tell you, like, that I have, oh, you know, it's going to be printed on this date by this company. It's kind of like, I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to put it on Patreon. Probably going to put it on Patreon a couple of pages at a time. Like, when I have 10 pages, I'll probably put up the first 10. I'm going to do it that way. And then, when the book is totally finished, maybe I'll look for a printer then and hopefully find a way to get it into people's hands who do not support me on Patreon. But there's just, I don't have a game plan for that yet, and it could be a year or two until after the thing is finished. So certainly the digital versions will be exclusive to Patreon. That's the plan right now. Because I gotta give those people something. I really appreciate their support, and I haven't really deserved it very much lately. Okay, that is so close to the frame, the other frame that I reused it from, but I hope we can get away with it. Got to do a bit of cleanup now because it's a bit messy. It's a bit Lionel Messi around here. Funnily enough, a friend of mine, actually, if I remember who it was Ed Gould, rest in peace, took a photograph of a drawing that somebody did of the footballer Messi. And it was a caricature someone did of Messi that Ed sent to me. And it looked exactly like me. It was a terrible caricature of Messi. It doesn't look anything like Messi at all. But it looked just like me. And like when I saw it, I was really confused. I was like, why is someone drawing me as a footballer? But he saw it, and obviously it made him laugh because of how much it looked like me. And it's really funny. It's a very funny image. I should probably find it and share it. That was years and years ago, obviously. But this was kind of a funny thing I totally just remembered, because I don't often think about the footballer Messi, or any footballer really. Okay, so I think that frame is good, and I'm gonna put a little happy face at the bottom to let me know, because I'm not going to bother copying and pasting all of the frames over into an anime. I'll just grab this frame and shove it in the timeline, and we can see how it looks. And then I am going to be off, guys. But before I do that, Davi88 asks, Harry, what is the best comic book movie? My favorite is probably 1989 Batman. I really love it. Really, really love it. I love a lot of the Batman films, though. And I like the first Spider-Man. I may prefer it to the second one, which I know is sacrilegious. I mean the Sam Raimi one. You know, Tobey Maguire. I like those guys. I do like the X-Men movies. I really like Days of Future Past, actually. I like that film. Yeah, there's a lot. I like a lot of comic book movies. Ashos says, I found your stuff right after Starbarians 3 came out, and now I love your stuff and became a supporter on Patreon. Thank you, Ashos. That is awesome. It's great when you find stuff, you know, years after it's been made, because then it looks like I've actually been busy. You're like, oh, he's got all these cartoons, and I haven't put out anything of value since January 2019. Kilgar's Code doesn't count. But this is coming out this month. All right, let's stick that frame in, and then I'll run and hide, and you'll never see or hear from me again. Okay, what was it? It was the one with the happy face. This frame here. Old Mr. Happy Face. Something like this.
But I know your weakness, eh, snapper chap? But I know your weak. But I know your weak.
You see, it's nice as the eye drags. He has this moment of, you know, going down. Left a bit of schmutz there in the frame. I should clean that up.
It's art or silver.
So yeah, this section is taking forever because it's 34 seconds long, but
It's no stake to the heart or silver bullet, but I know your weakness, snapper chap.
oh boy.
I know your weakness, snapper chap. That should stop you chewing for a while. Unless your new set grows in even.
And blah 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 blah, and then it goes on. And this isn't even the end of it. This is 22 seconds. There's another 12 seconds after that. I still have the storyboard out. I know what happens, but it's not, you know, I haven't got all the roughs drawn out like this. Anyway, guys, I'm done. FunCube says that frame has the line at the bottom too high, doesn't it? Oh no, he's probably right. Yes, yes. There, I got. That's another thing. This is a messy old frame. Okay, obviously I'm not done with this frame. I'll go and clean it up. Thank you, FunCubes, for pointing that out. I'll go and do that now. Guys, thank you very much for coming by. I can't read out all your names because there's 76 of you right now viewing, and there's like more than a dozen in the chat. Hello, Dylan. I didn't say hi to you yet. Hi, hey, Hollow Cat Head. Richard Sant. Holy shit. My friend Richard Sant, who I've not spoken to for, well, a long time. Last time I spoke to Richard, probably when I saw him in person when we saw The Force Awakens. Yeah, those were good times. Cheers for coming by, Richard. Richard says, can you get a vote for the human snot? Yeah, cheers, mate. I hope that's Richard Sant. I hope that's just not somebody else with the name Richard Sant, but I don't think that is. So I think that's the man in question. Anyway, thank you everyone for coming by. I'm going to go and just relax for a little bit, and then I'll get right back to it, and I'll clean up this this frame I cocked up here. The FunCubes just pointed out. Hey, Tyler. Thank you for coming by. That's Tyler Comio? Don't know how I say that. Jade O. Kawaii Hentai. Yeah, see, there's too many names. Too many names. If I've said your name already, you're good. You're not getting a second name saying. You're not getting a double dip. Guys, thank you. Guys and gals, love you all. Take care. Thanks for coming by. See you soon.